having yet another panic attack or awful depressive episode. I don't even know what to call it, because I know panic attacks can look worse than what I'm going through right now, but I feel terrible inside. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think I woke up today about 11, something like that, and I've just had nothing but bad feelings all day, wondering why I'm here, wondering why any of us are here. It's hard for me to talk, it's hard for me to verbalize what I'm thinking, and that's scary to me. I feel very alone. I feel hard to breathe, and when I do breathe, it doesn't feel comfortable. I was doing the breathe in the paper bag trick, which I'll talk about at another time if you don't know about that. I don't know that it helps, but I keep doing it. Try to do that slowly, but I tend to go way too fast. I just feel awful. I feel like nobody cares how I feel. I feel like all of my family is slowly melting away, and all my friends are gone, and there's nobody for me to talk to or or help me through this. And I've called a counselor that I used to see like when I was younger and having different problems. I've seen her off and on since I was 15, and she's still practicing, and so I called her, and I hope she'll be calling me back, and maybe I can see her sometime this week. I feel sad. I feel scared. I feel alone, and I feel like I don't have a purpose in my life because of the chronic pain, and even when I'm not in a ton of pain, I feel like probably most people feel like when they have a flu. I always feel sick. I feel sad about how my life's turned out, and I feel like there's nothing I can do about it, and suicide scares me. I don't ever want to do that. I need to come out of this, and I've been tapering off of Cymbalta at a more consistent rate. Here's what I was doing. I just got out of the shower, by the way, and I was still feeling very awful, so I wanted my husband to take this video. And you don't have to be so close either, by the way. Back up. I have no makeup on, and that's why I threw my sunglasses on, because I have real blonde eyelashes and eyebrows, and I look like an alien if I don't have makeup on. So, and with this Cymbalta for like the last few months, I've been only taking one pill every other day, and just recently I read that that's not a good way to take it. It would have been better if I would have been taking half the dosage, but every day probably. I was on 60 milligrams, and I got down to where if you open up the capsule, it has all these tiny little, they look like mini styrofoam dots, and that's the medication. And what I had read on the internet to do was to take one dot away every day, one little ball. They're like microscopic, they're so small. Hold on just 1 minute. So I've been doing that pretty consistently for like how long? Like, didn't I say yesterday it was like 2 weeks or something like that? Maybe about 2 weeks I've been doing that. And I didn't think that was going to make any difference really in how I felt, because I've been doing only one 60 milligram pill every other day for like 8 months or something. And then I never went back to one pill every day. I just took one day, I took one of those full pills and I dumped it out, or I took one thing out. And I've done that all the way down, and there's probably a few hundred of those things in each little capsule, I'm guessing. But I'm down to today I took 12. Yesterday I took 13. Day before I took 14. So I took 12 today. And I keep thinking my panic attack feeling and the depression and all that is going to, get a little bit better every day. And it's not. It's getting worse. And today it got so bad that the only thing I could think to do other than go to the hospital, the ER, which is probably going to be expensive for me with the insurance I have, and also probably unnecessary because they don't really have good psychiatrists on hand in an ER, and they'd probably just make an appointment for me with a psychiatrist, have me seen by someone briefly who might say all the stuff I already know. And I don't see that as really, that'd be like a last resort thing if I was really actively thinking suicidal thoughts. Well, I do think bad thoughts, but if it got to the point where I was really thinking of how can I do this, then of course I would run to the ER no matter what. But my situation is more like just levels of dread. It's I'm afraid of what my next feeling's going to be, and I'm afraid of what my next thought is going to be. I'm overwhelmed with bad thoughts about the world. I'm an animal activist, or I used to be. I'm an animal rights person. I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegan for a couple of years, but lately I've been feeling like I need more protein, and I just had to try going back to being a vegetarian because I was hungry all the time, and I can't cook my own meals very well and can't consistently do that. So being a vegan takes a lot of work, and I love it, and that's where my heart is. But right now I'm being a vegetarian just to get some egg into my diet, and every once in a while a little dairy and cheese and stuff like that. Anyway, I got off track. Anyway, I start thinking terrible thoughts for the animals. I start praying just probably obsessively for animals and for pets as well as wild animals. Just seeing a person eat a steak or something makes me sad. It's